we're doing two NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Saturday, December 30th. We have just actually one NFL game here, and it's actually one of the more exciting games in my opinion on the season. Obviously, we're deep into the season, week 17 now currently, but really looking forward to this one here. Detroit Lions versus the Dallas Cowboys. Before we get started, you guys take a look in the description below of this video. You can opt into our premium Discord. It's $9.30 per month. Comes out to 31 cents per day. It's where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks. We also have other premium cappers in the Discord as well. They post all their plays, research, and analysis. Overall, in their super positive community, everyone is trying to help each other cash. I also want to mention I'm not a gambling expert. This is not financial advice. Simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully, give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. Again, no one's pressing submit on those parlays other than yourselves. But let's just get right into this video here. Taking a look at this matchup here, you can see the highest over-under on the slate without question. We're looking at a 52 over-under, which just in general, like we haven't had too many games this season with a 52-point spread or 52 over-under. I think there's been maybe like 5 or 6 that I can remember with the spread that high of 50 plus. I mean, even for an NFL game, like 46 is considered high, but we get this one here at 52. So two plays that I do like. I definitely think this has potential to be a shootout. One, the Cowboys offense is extremely explosive, and the Detroit Lions offense is extremely explosive, but the Detroit Lions defense is not strong. So I'm definitely thinking, the Lions, if any team in the NFL can support a blowout, it's the Detroit Lions. And I definitely think the Cowboys have all the offense to be able to have one as well. But let's get into this. No more time is going to be wasted here. Let's look at Jameson Williams over 32.5 receiving yards. Now, if you've been watching any of my videos in the previous 5 weeks or so, I think since Thanksgiving we took Jameson Williams, and since then we've taken him maybe 2 more times. I know in the Discord I've given him as a play a couple times here, and he's come through for us pretty much every time. He's no longer just like running cardio out there on the field. He's seeing an increase in snap counts, increase in targets, just playing a lot more, right? So we look at Jameson Williams, his game log this season here, and you can see here he's over in 2 of his last 2, and really take away this game against Chicago in the cold. He's over in 4 of his last 5 games: 44, 51, 11, 47, and 43. Receiving yards here for Jameson Williams, coming off a 6 target, 5 catches, 43 yards against Minnesota. And then the week before that had 7 targets, 4 catches for 47 yards against Denver. Okay, and neither of these games, let's take a look. These games may have been shootouts, 30-24, actually pretty high scoring game here. And then 42-17, Detroit really wasn't in the passing mode for that game specifically. But Jameson Williams, like I talked about, he lines up all over the field. We're looking at 22, 27, and 29% as far as his snap percentage on the outside in versus the slot. And then specifically these routes run, 26 and 22 routes run over the last 2 weeks, and has run 15 plus routes in seven of these last 7 weeks. But 13 targets over the last 2 weeks is what's really intriguing to me, like very intriguing to me, because Jameson Williams, he's the type of player, his 8-out is extremely high, so he doesn't need a ton of targets to be able to clear this line. Like, he's the talented player where he could catch one pass and this line could be free, right? Just given the depth of throws that he does receive and kind of the routes that he does run. Snap count, like I said, continuing to increase. I would say he's solidifying himself almost as the wide receiver 2 in this offense. Obviously, they have Sam Laporta at the tight end position, but Jameson Williams, I think, is going to receive more targets than Josh Reynolds and Kelly Freeman moving forward. That's just what it is. And I definitely think the Cowboys are going to be very busy out looking at Amon-Ra, Laporta, Gibbs, and David Montgomery. So I definitely think there's going to be openings for Jameson Williams to get his. We look at wide receivers game log this season versus the Cowboys. We've seen deep threats, all different types of wide receivers been able to clear this line. I mean, Waddle had 1 catch for 50 yards against the Cowboys. Cedric Wilson, 3 catches for 42 yards. Tyreek, obviously, 9 catches for 99. Robbie Chosen-Anderson, 1 catch for 19 yards. I mean, we've seen wide receivers consistently been able to clear this line week after week. Devonta Smith had 73. He lines up similarly all over the field to Jameson Williams. Tyler Lockett as well, 47. And Jackson Smith-Njigba had 62 as well. Curtis Samuel, 100. Darren McLaurin, 50. Jahan Dotson, 52, all in the same game. Adam Thielen here, 74. And like I talked about, this game's going to be a shootout, 52 over-under, especially with Detroit being 5.5-point underdogs here. They're going to be throwing the ball, although we know that they do love to run the ball. But I like Jameson Williams over 32.5 receiving yards as the first play. The second play here, I got to go to Dak. I'm just going to take his fantasy score here in this one at 23 flat. We know Dak. He's been playing at MVP level. I know there's people that just love to slander Dak in general. Like Dak, without question, Dak receives just a lot of slander overall, right? As a just the type of player that he is. I think maybe just because he plays for the Cowboys, he receives this type of slander. But 23 fantasy for Dak. We look at him game log this season. First of all, he's just so much better at home. Like his home versus away splits are pretty crazy. He's got more 20 passing touchdowns at home compared to 10 on the road. So he's doubled his passing touchdowns when he plays at home compared to when he plays on the road. And 202 fantasy points at home compared to 150 this season on the road. We kind of just look at his top fantasy score performances. I mean, 4 of his top 5 best per fantasy performance games have come at home here against Seattle, the Rams, Washington, and the New York Giants. So taking that in consideration, just how often he's able to just dominate at home, and given the matchup, right? The Detroit Lions are susceptible to quarterbacks. You can see here over the last 4 weeks, the second most fantasy points to the quarterback position. If we even just go to like the last 8 weeks, they're giving up the most fantasy points to the quarterback position. The Detroit Lions just cannot stop quarterbacks, that especially quarterbacks that have time in the pocket, because the Detroit Lions can't pressure the quarterback, and if a quarterback has time in the pocket, they thrive, and Dak Prescott thrives with time in the pocket. We look at quarterbacks fantasy score game log this season versus the Lions. I mean, Nick Mullins just had 20.5 fantasy points. Russell Wilson 17.5. Justin Fields 24.7. Jordan Love 26.6. Justin Fields again 21.2. So we see Justin Fields go for 21 and 24 fantasy points versus the Detroit Lions this season. Justin Herbert here 29.4. Lamar Jackson 33.9. Just a ton of ways for to attack Dak here. He's minus 340 currently over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Minus 340. So I would say that's pretty close to a lock, according to Vegas, to throw 2 passing touchdowns here. Just overall, right? Like I said, I mean, this is a simple read in my opinion. Highest over-under on the slate, highest over-under, one of the highest over-unders on the season with Detroit that can absolutely support a shootout. Dak Prescott, the quarterback on a team with no Rico Dowdle, so I'm not expecting them to really rely on the run too much in this one. I mean, Detroit, third fewest yards per carry to running back, so it's going to be Dak time in Dallas for this one. Here are the 2 plays for this YouTube video. Let me know in the comments what you feel about these 2. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button, and as always, let's cash.